Welcome back to the Replay Roundtable. Today we're discussing 4 NES games. I think we're going to call it Hidden Gems in a way, but I'm not so sure I want to anymore.
Some are a little more trendy than others.
If you think about it, these are all kind of games from our childhood in a way.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, Sky Kid and Toki were Kyle's choice over here. Dungeon Magic is up to Dave.
Yeah.
And Dragon Spirit's kind of mine. Kyle got me hooked back on it, and we'll talk about that in a second. Dave, I do believe you wanted to talk about Dungeon Magic first.
Yes.
And while you do that, I mean, go at it, Dave. Tell us all about Dungeon Magic.
Yeah, so Dungeon Magic is one of those games that if you pick it up as an impressionable young kid who just spent their weekend rental on this game that looked cool, and you put it in and you die within 3 seconds or so after getting out of town, you might get a little frustrated. And I think your average gamer today putting it in is going to get a little frustrated.
Even as a 30-year-old, yes.
But it's actually, of the style of game it is, which you could call it a first-person dungeon hack kind of game, like Eye of the Beholder, that style of game. Dungeon Keeper, Dungeon Master, one of those, another one that's that style of game. But it's not a game you saw on the NES a lot. It's a game you mostly saw on computers. But as far as versions on the NES and Super Nintendo, this is arguably the best one of its kind. Like, it's better than Eye of the Beholder on the SNES, as far as I'm concerned, which wasn't a good port.
I haven't played it enough to actually have a comment.
Yeah,
but it's a style of game where you're seeing the 3D world in front of you. You're turning left, right, forward, and back. You're going through, basically grids. Like the overworld is a series of like 4, 20 by 20 grids. Or
right. So
like that.
if you literally had a piece of graph paper,
Yeah.
that's the world. You
Yeah.
just draw lines on it. That's literally what the world is.
That's the world, and then and all the dungeons are basically like 1 to 4 different grids on different levels, essentially. And it starts out, where you have no idea where you are, you have no idea what you're doing. You're in a town. There's a castle. There's a king that gives you some money. There's a guy in town who gives you a compass. These are things you just have to do. If you just wander out of town, you could not get the compass. If you don't go to the castle, you cannot get the money from the king.
Well, to be fair, this is the only thing I understood about the game, because in the starting town where you first start out, there's a girl that tells you that the king has a sword and money for you.
Yep.
And there's a dude, like, literally right there that gives you the compass.
So it's one of those things, like, if you play RPGs and just try and burn your way through them, you're going to be frustrated. If you actually talk to the people, you can figure stuff out for the most part. It does give clues. There are events triggered by talking to people, and if you don't talk to the person, it doesn't necessarily trigger the event that it should.
There was a map that would have made the game.
Yes. And that's the thing. There is a map, but you have to cast a fairy magic spell, and then it shows on the screen for like 1 to 3 seconds. It should be a little
bullshit.
It should be a little mini map on the top of the screen. That's what it should be. In a Super Nintendo game, that's what it would have been. But this was the NES, and they didn't really. I don't know if they didn't have room, or if they hadn't figured it out, or whatever, or they just thought it was too easy that way.
I feel like I should be drawing a map as I'm playing the
should
game.
be, yes.
Like,
I was thinking the same thing, and then I realized I'm too old for this shit.
So it's an RPG. It's an RPG. You have to enjoy.
It's not.
You have to enjoy mapping. You have to enjoy grinding for levels. Like Dragon Warrior, you had to get to level 25, 30, or whatever to win the game. It's that kind of game. If you don't enjoy grinding, you're not going to have fun with it. You have to grind for gold to get weapons and armor to some extent.
For me, it's first-person hide line.
Oh, it's way better than Hide Light. Hide Light, you just bump into stuff. This has an actual combat system.
Into stuff and press A.
No, but this you're hacking and slashing and parrying.
Now, I read up in this, and I think this is actually true, that the monsters that you kill in the open world respawn only when you go to an inn.
Yes.
So, like, if you are, like, a high enough level, and you're just gonna go to the dungeons and whatnot, you just kill everything, probably not take any damage, maybe heal up, but don't save it in an inn, and then go about your business.
Yeah, and if you want to keep farming the same dungeon, you clear it out, you go back, save at the end, they come back, you can do that again. So you pick a dungeon where there's not much dangerous to you, and you just grind XP. So that can be a little tedious, but it's not terrible. And I like the schools of magic. Like I said, it's very important you start with either water or fairy, probably water, because water gives you more of a defensive bubble. You don't have to be quite as high level to beat stuff. Whereas Fairy gives you the mini map and stuff like that, and stats for yourself and your enemies. If you're really good at the game, starting with Fairy can give you a little bit of an increase, but then you have to be good at dodging and parrying and stuff because you're going to take more damage otherwise. Otherwise, for most people, I'd say take Water. Do not take any of the 3 other schools of magic. You either get their sword really early in the game, like with Earth, I think, and so it doesn't matter, or you don't really need them. Like Fire, you don't really need in the game except for like one place in the game. They're like Earth, you use like 1 or 2 places. A lot of those magics you barely use, whereas Water you use all the time, Fairy you use all the time.
That being said, I do have a list of things I do not like about Dragon Magic. I feel like I should write an essay on these. So I'm going to start off with the magic system.
Yeah.
So the manual basically does tell you to start with either water or fairy first, but it's kind of janky. So you go to one of a bunch of sorcerers that are kind of hidden throughout the towns, the 2 beginning towns. There might even be a third one in another town.
They're in all the towns, but some of the towns only have a wizard of 1 element. Actually, I think most of them do.
Yeah, so like the manual will tell you to start out with the fairy, but when you use the map, and Dave alluded to this earlier, when you use the fairy spell to see the map, it shows up literally for like 3 seconds on your TV, only shows you a minor spot of where you are in the game.
Yeah.
Doesn't work in towns, which is my biggest gripe.
Yeah.
Because the towns are mazes.
They're a little frustrating.
They're not towns. They're
ridiculous.
fucking mazes.
They're a little frustrating.
Like, I would have actually liked it if you went into a town and there was kind of just more of a menu system. Like some Game Boy RPGs did this, where you go to a town, it's like, do you want to go to the armory? Do you want to go to the magic guy? Do you want to go to the inn? And those are like your only options. Or do you want to talk to Joe Schmo over here? See,
I'm used to, I guess I have a high tolerance for this because I played all the old Gold Box games, all the old TSR, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons games on the computer. That's how they are. Every town's a maze.
Yeah.
So that's pretty standard to me, but...
That drives me absolutely insane, especially if I go accidentally to a different town, because you can get lost in this game within 5 seconds of going outside.
Yeah.
So you stumble upon a different town, you think you're back at the first one, and then everything's different, because of course the layouts are all different for some reason.
Yeah.
I actually found a house when I was playing this morning that had a maze within the house.
Yep.
That didn't go to anywhere. It just moved. If I could draw it on a map, it would be like you just draw a corner. Like, you draw a square, and then you draw a little maze in the square, and that was like somebody's house, and there was no one in it.
I feel like the towns would have been better if they... I know,
so pissed.
I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make them all different.
Bill's house.
Right. Yeah, they're trying to make them all different and unique, but it would have been less frustrating if they were all the same, so you knew where to find stuff.
I'd so much rather they just be all the same.
Yeah.
To level up, you have to go back to the same guy that you got your first magic from. I mean, later on, I think go to anyone.
You have to go to one that you've learned magic from. So early on, if you took water, you have to go to a water mage, which at the first town there is one.
Yeah.
One other town has a water mage.
So when you're out and about and you're exploring and you're gaining experience and stuff, and then you're lost somewhere else on the map, and you don't know how to get back to the original town, you can't level up. So then you have to find the way to get back to the original town, which is completely blind. As if I just turn off the lights and put a bunch of shit in the middle of the floor and said don't get hit. That's like trying to find your way back to the other town.
Yeah, mapping's important. You really got to make maps or have a general idea where you're going.
Right. So you either need to download a map online or you need to literally grab out the graph paper and draw this shit out. It's so difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
I think if I was a kid,
yeah,
with some graph paper, I'd have so much less of a problem with this.
Yeah. It's frustrating nowadays.
Right, so town layout was another one of my things, but I think we already went that.
Yeah.
The where the fuck do you go issue with the game.
Yeah.
That's a big one, because I couldn't find this person that told me to go find a fairy.
Yeah. It's weird, because you talk to the people in town, but they don't just... It's not like you go into town and they all line up to talk to you. You have to wander around the town for a while. And you'll see the repeats of the same people. Sometimes you'll see a repeat of the same lady 2 or 3 times, where you want to talk to the dude instead, because the dude is the one that says what you need to see. Well, you basically have to talk to each... There's only so many town person appearances.
Only 3.
Yeah, there's 3, 4, somewhere around there. You want to make sure you talk to each appearance, each type of person in town at least once, because if you don't, you're probably going to miss some information.
Yeah, and sometimes after you talk to them, they just kind of respawn like a couple cubes over from you, but they can respawn right in front of you.
Yeah.
So you just keep talking to the same person, trying to get them to go the hell away.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
That's super annoying.
It's a little weird.
I also had a thing, the townsfolk are useless. So apparently, unless you find the right one, they just say bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, mostly they say nonsense, but there are certain ones that you have to talk to because they trigger events.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, there's a little girl that'll tell you, oh, I can't go play outside.
Yes.
Like, great.
All right.
I have no idea where to go. Like, I'm trying to save you. I literally don't know how to do that.
It's the I am error effect, you know. A lot of early NES games had that useless townspeople thing.
One of my biggest gripes was the spells have absolutely no explanation about what the fuck they do.
Yep.
You just have to kind of use them and pray.
You have to use them and see what they do.
And there's so basically there's 3 little signals that you can line up. You have to do like a 1 2 3 or 1 1 1 or 2 2 2 3 3 3 2 3. It's like a fucking mess, and you don't actually know what they do. So you line up symbols. You get out of the spell menu, you cast your spell, which doesn't work in town, so you have to go out where it's dangerous and use them.
Yep.
Well, most spells use a portion of your life,
Yep.
so then if you cast one that's not useful, you have to go back into town,
Yep.
heal up,
Yep.
go back or out of town, test a spell.
Yep.
It's just this constant revolving process of trial and error.
Yeah. Again, it would have
Pisses me
been better on the SNES. On the NES, there's only so much they could do with it.
There had to be some way to like press start or press select and you see a map.
If it was a later NES game, even they probably could have done a better job with it.
Yeah, like Metroid doesn't have a map, but at least you like can kind of figure it out.
Sides.
Yeah,
it's a bitch.
My problem was just getting outside of the town, getting lost, and then not knowing how to get back. And
then you
Scorpion time.
You die to get back.
Yeah.
Well, there's a
spell.
You
lose all your shit.
There is actually a spell that takes you back, but again, you have to know that.
Oh,
you
yeah,
have to know.
okay.
Yeah. And what's also frustrating is a lot of the magic, all it does is shoot out a fireball.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts you, which theoretically damages the enemy, but probably hurts you more than it damages the enemy for most of the spells.
Yeah.
Except at the end of the game, there's certain enemies that have a really high defense, and you have to kill them with magic, basically. So that's kind of cool, but it kind of sucks to figure it out.
Yeah, and the menuing is actually kind of complicated starting out.
Yeah.
Because you can't just cast a spell by pressing B or up B. You have to like go into your menu, like select which spell you want to use, which of course is just symbols, so you have to know what you're doing.
Yep.
And then you have to like press start to get slightly out of the menu. Then you have to like press select to select your spell and then cast it.
Yeah.
It's really confusing, and if you're in the middle of a battle, you might as well just like die and.
It suggests in the manual it suggests parrying, basically turning to the side, backing up, then casting your spell, and then going back to fight. You get used to it after a while, but it's tricky at first.
I try. Well, the problem is there's so many menu options. It's not just like you have attack and spell. There's attack, spell, status, items, pick up items, and maybe one other. It's like so many fucking options.
Yeah.
I would really like to see them just like kind of condense it. Like Chrysalis, for example, has like kind of an annoyingly large menu system, but it's fine.
It's
like
better.
It's like you understand it. There could be improvements, but it's fine.
Yeah.
This one, it's just like go away menu.
This is more primitive, for sure.
It's like give me a condensed version of this. Like make a better use of select and start. Like just figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Another issue I had, the difficulty right off the bat.
Yes.
Is like impossible. Like you can walk out of town if you don't go to the king first, like the thing tells you to. You'll go out of town. You'll die to the first enemy you see, and there's nothing you can do. Yeah. Even on the way to the king, there can be a cobra sitting there and kill you before you can even get to him.
Yeah,
rare, but it can happen.
Yeah, if you don't have water magic up, the cobras can very easily kill you. At level 1.
So it's like you can grind around town for a while, killing cobras, try to find the guy that gives you experience, level up, and just kind of rinse and repeat until you're strong enough to do something.
Yep.
I think that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, you're supposed to get to at least level 3, maybe level 6, and then start questing around.
I find that so much easier in a game like Dragon Warrior, where it's just... I like the top-down style of RPG.
This game, it's a lot, like I said, it's a lot more sandboxy. This game, you can wander around the map and find all kinds of free loot. There's tons of free armor and weapons that you can get, but again, unless you have fairy magic, it's kind of hard to know where it is. Otherwise, you just have to map every square in the game and see what's there. And so you can get it's fun. It's if you like that style of game, it's fun, but it's not for everybody.
My last thing, cheater. The last thing would be the music and sound effects. They're
The music's,
is
the music's almost non-existent. There is some good music in certain spots.
The intro is actually really cool.
Yes.
The intro's great. Like, really drawn out. It has good music.
Yeah.
Gets you kind of pumped up for the game.
Yeah.
As soon as you start the game, it's dead silent.
It's mostly dead silence, yeah. The sound effects are okay. They're a little repetitious and annoying at times, but...
Especially when knocking on the doors drives me absolutely insane.
The graphics are good. Yeah. The graphics are good, I think. The graphics are... The monster sprites and everything are pretty good.
They're pretty cool.
You're
going to the dungeon.
Your visual effects, your armor is kind of cool to see.
That's neat.
It takes up probably more screen real estate than it needs to, but...
Yeah. I kind of wish there was an attack animation of some
Yes.
sort, like even a karate chop.
Yeah.
Something.
My gripe about it was, a lot of the screen real estate was taken up, and the actual view, it was very small.
Yeah.
I didn't like the whole boxed out.
Yeah. Right.
And that might
visual
have been as good as they could do with the NES. I mean,
Maybe.
It's kind of like how you'd have like Sega CD games with a tiny little screen of full motion video because that was the best they could do. So I don't know, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty good. I'll go into. I want to give it a 3.5.
You're gonna give it a 3.5?
I would.
Wow, I expected more.
No, it's a
you
flawed
talking
game.
about this game?
Yeah, man.
It's a flawed game, but for me, the flaws are flaws that are common in most of the RPG games of the era.
Okay.
If you're going to play an RPG on the NES, you were expecting a lot of these flaws. Now, some of them, like the music is a big one. Like, the music should have been way better.
I wish there was just any music. Like, Dragon Warrior has, like, fun music.
Yeah.
Like, pretty iconic, just standard overworld music.
Yeah, if it had better music, it could easily have been a 4 to me.
Yeah.
To me, the interface sucks, but you're kind of used to that. The having to figure out where stuff is sucks, but you're kind of used to that. Like, that's just kind of how RPGs were in the 8-bit era, but,
Yeah, and I didn't mention this too. So in town, there's a bunch of doors that like have your armory. It has your vendor. It has your inn. It has the sorcerer dudes.
Yep.
None of the doors have anything over it to indicate what the hell they are.
That would have helped.
I go in the same door all the time.
I literally just keep walking to the same door in accident after wandering around town. It pisses me off to no end. Like,
but for a game of that era, like, you had a lot of weapon options, a lot of armor options.
Right,
There is all kinds of cool stuff.
Wouldn't it have killed them to put like a sword above the armory door, or a shield, or like a bed above the inn, or a wizard staff above the sorcerer place?
Yeah, even Might and Magic
had to have been able to do that.
Even Might and Magic on the NES, which is a very similar game, it was more of a turn-based game. It had a similar thing where everything would be the same appearance, but it would do text saying, "This is so and so's blacksmith shop."
Yeah.
So that would have helped. Yeah.
Yeah. For ratings, geez, I haven't really thought about it that much. I feel like right now I have to give it a 2. but I think if I were to like really finally understand the game, I have actually given it a lot of solid efforts. I've tried, damn it. I even tried it with Game Genie this morning. I tried cheating. I put on invincibility, and I put on, like, infinite gold, pretty much. So you buy all the upgraded shit right away, and you just walk around killing stuff. I got lost.
Yeah. There's no Game Genie code for knowing where you're going.
Yeah.
Is there a map online?
Yeah.
People
have developed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are full maps of everything.
There's some different ones. You sent me a good one.
Yes.
But otherwise, there's a lot of shitty ones on there, too, which
yeah.
don't really help out too much.
Yeah.
So, like, you need to print out the stupid map.
You kind of do.
Like,
How big are we talking here?
I don't know.
Well, like I said, it's like, I want to say it's like A, B, C, D, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So, it's like a 4x4 grid, and each one of those is like 20 spaces or so, something like that. And so, yeah, it's that big of a world, roughly. And that's just to get around the overworld. Mostly all you really need to know is where the towns are, like general directions, and you can usually figure it out. The map, the dungeons, you kind of need to know your way around, again, unless you have fairy magic. If you have fairy magic, you can constantly spam that once you get good at it, and you can literally see where the monsters are, so you can dodge around them and stuff like that.
I just so wish the fairy magic didn't just blurp it up for 3 seconds and then go away
It should be a mini-map thing, yes.
There's no way to initiate it and enable the map at all with a button?
You have to keep triggering it.
You can press the spell,
Yes.
which will show the map up on the screen.
Yes.
for 3 seconds.
You can leave
and
that.
Go away. And you
Yep.
can keep spamming it.
Yes.
But
You can leave that as your selected magic, and as you're going, you just keep hitting the magic button.
then if something comes up, then you have to switch over to attack real quick
Right.
to make sure you don't just kill yourself.
Yeah. It's not as bad once you get used to it, but it could have been better.
Yeah, it's, again, minor user interface things would just
Yes.
make this game infinitely better.
Yes.
And I think it would have made it, like, way more enjoyable. To me, where I think it would be, like Dave said, a 3.5. They just changed a few things around.
I consider it a 3.5 just mainly because of where it stands against other RPGs at the time.
Right, and we should say, like,
Yes.
again, these are games from our childhood. So,
Yes.
like, we have probably skewed ratings on these.
Yes.
Like, where did you play this thing as a kid? Like, did you rent
I
it
rented
at one point,
it, yeah.
or what?
Yeah, it was a rental. I rented a lot of games as a kid, a lot of NES games, where I would bug my parents on Friday night to rent a game, and we'd just go down to the corner store and whatever happened to be there. You know, they'd have a couple dozen games. If I was lucky, I'd get like a Kid Icarus or a Metroid or something fun like that. And then sometimes I'd see something cool like this I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would be something like Times of Lore that would be absolute garbage. Or sometimes it would be something like this that seemed like garbage, but by the end of the weekend, I was finally starting to understand it,
Yeah.
and then I had to return it. But I enjoyed it.
That happened to me with, like, Zelda 2, where
Yeah,
I got it and I
yeah.
had no idea what the hell to do. And
Yes.
by the time I had to return it, I was, like, up to Castle 6 and, like,
Yes.
enjoying it.
Yes.
But, yeah, this I never played as a kid. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah,
You actually
same
bought
here.
it for my birthday, and I'm like,
Yeah.
great, I'll try it out. I gave it an honest to God's effort.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'll try it again someday, I'm sure.
I'll
Kyle?
buy it. If I'll find it and I'll buy it.
It's a cheap. It's like
It's
less
not
than 10
It's
bucks.
$10.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get it. Otherwise, I can emulate it, but it's not the same.
It sold a decent amount, so yeah, it's not super rare. And it
I'll
has a
keep an
battery
eye out for
backup
it.
too, which is nice.
I know you didn't
Yeah, it's
play
got
it
the-
too much.
I didn't play it too much.
Right.
I came
Everything.
over to Ben's here and we played it for a little bit, and I mean, I feel all the same frustrations as Ben is, and yeah, I just get lost a lot in the town. Like, okay, I've already gone into the same room 15 times all right, how do I get out of here? But my rating on it, I'm gonna go with Ben and give it a 2. But I think my opinion would improve over time as I play it more. Right? Like, as I learn how to
want
play
to
it.
hope so. Like, once I
mean,
actually understand what the hell I'm doing.
I've spent one night playing it
Yeah.
with you. And
I've
so-
tried. I've tried several times.
It's for hardcore RPG fans on
Yeah.
the NES only, I think.
Like, you basically have to
Yes.
read game facts in order to start it up, or you have
Yes.
to already somehow know what you're doing from your childhood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't do as well at introducing you, at teaching you how to play it, which is the biggest problem I have with it.
You gotta have patience
Yes.
with it. It's not a quick pick up a game and just play for a little bit and put it down. You gotta put some time into it.
Yeah, my rating is more just what they accomplished on the NES.
Yeah.
The early NES, because again, this is 1990. This
I-
wasn't...
I was impressed how involved it was
Yeah.
and what the game can do.
Yeah.
It wasn't just your typical side scroller. Like,
Yeah.
it was pretty involved and developed. So I'm impressed for that fact.
And for me, I always have my heart towards top-down RPGs.
Yeah.
That's just my thing.
Yeah,
It's hard to go
me
back
too.
to the first person.
Yeah.
Well, that's Dungeon
Leave it
Magic. I don't know what the hell the average rating is. We got 2 2s and a 3, so whatever the fuck that is.
3.5.
3.5, my bad.
I guess an average of 2.5 maybe, but...
Somewhere in there. I think we're gonna go with Sky Kid next.
Sky Kid.
Which is Kyle's pick for this week. Kyle, where did you first play this game?
So,
Jesus.
my time as a 13-year-old. We're gonna get.
I'm
this
waiting
open.
for you here.
There we go. Need that?
Alright, my bad.
So, me and my cousin spent some time at my grandparents' house, and he had brought over a whole box full of games that his stepbrother had picked up, and this game was in there. And we just spent time just taking games out, just trying them out, sometimes slapping the Game Genie on there and seeing what different codes can do. But we saw this, and we popped it in, and we were blown away. Because it was a different type of game. It wasn't your typical overhead type of like 1942 game. It was a side scroller from right to left. And we're like, okay. And this is really cute. You look at this, and there's like a war going on here, and you start playing the game, and it's got this real happy music.
Yeah.
And everything's nice and colorful.
The label does not match the game at all.
Nothing to do with it. It's a playing game. That's about all you're getting from it. And instantly, like, me and my cousins still, this is like our go-to game. And we have a blast on it. And as you progress in the game, I mean, it gets gradually more difficult. And you're dealing with biplanes coming from behind and forward, and there's guns and everything shooting at you from the bottom.
Yeah.
So there's constantly stuff hitting you, and you have to maneuver up and down, left and right, and your missions are to blow up, either a big, like, boat or...
Like a destroyer.
Yeah, destroyer,
like a giant
anything.
battleship.
Or a base.
A base, yeah,
I said
anything.
Arby's for a second.
Yeah.
And you only get really one chance throughout the game. You're going, and all of a sudden you see a bomb on the ground, and of course you have to be kind of positioned in the middle and time it just perfect to actually pick up the bomb, but don't get hit by anything.
Yeah.
Because you'll lose the bomb. There's no way to get the bomb back, as far as I know. It's not
There's
like you
none.
can dive and pick it up.
And don't do your spinny thing before.
Don't do your spinny thing. Yes,
That's how you
there-
drop
loop
the
to
bomb.
loop.
isn't
Yes,
it?
yep.
Yeah.
There's a maneuver in there that
to
you
loop.
have to learn how to use.
So we should say the controls are literally shoot and do like a loop and looby thing.
Yep, you can
Yeah.
loop. You can loop up and back, or down and forward to kind of get away from other biplanes that are trying to take you out.
Yeah.
And they also loop too.
Yeah.
I constantly saw them. They would come in and they're bopping the whole way through, and they'll try to take you out. And if you start spilling out of control, you can usually hammer on the controller if you're high enough up and recover.
Instead of just dying.
Yep, instead of just crash and
So
burning.
if you get hit, you can basically mash your controller
Yep.
to gain recontrol if you're playing. I don't know if it gets harder the more you get hit.
The more you get
It
hit,
seems to.
you will crash if you're constantly getting hit as you're spiraling out of
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
But I was trying to figure out if over time throughout the level, if you get hit too many times, you can't recover as fast. Right?
That's
Like,
what I'm saying,
You
yeah.
kind of run out of those.
It seems to be that way. And the game's hard as balls.
It gets difficult.
Oh, right away.
There's a lot of levels.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of easy. Even the second level, after I kept playing it over, like those guys, like
Yeah.
the biplanes are just ridiculous. I spent most of the time up in the sky, more towards the top. But then of course you have to pay attention when you hear like a little indicator sound that a bomb is like, it's like
Right,
ding, ding,
yeah,
ding,
it
and then you
plays-
swing down
yeah.
and get it.
Yeah.
But
But then you can't, then you're basically slow as hell. You can only shoot and you can't loop.
can't loop.
Yeah.
So you
Yep.
have to survive for another 30 seconds before the thing that you're supposed to blow up appears.
Yep.
Which is hard as hell.
It is.
And all you do is get points. You can skip it entirely and just get through the level.
Yes.
Right, like if you just want to stay up at the very top and
Yeah.
just try to scroll your way through the level.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because
Yeah.
there's I don't know if there's a limit to how many shit can be on the screen at the same time, but you have guys from below shooting at you, and you have a ton of planes. I've seen 5 planes on the screen at a time.
Yeah.
Because I was trying that strat. It didn't
Yeah.
seem to work out too well, so...
Yeah.
The game's hard. I think I got to level 5 once.
I get to 7.
Yeah, I got somewhere 2, 3. I honestly didn't keep with it as long as you guys did.
Yeah. I will say, it's a really fun 2-player game.
Oh, it's a blast.
That's actually probably my favorite.
And there's little weird things too that I noticed. I actually was about to crash. I think it's level 6 or 7. There's a Statue of Liberty in there, and I was heading down, and I got to about the dress.
Yeah.
And I recovered, and the dress blew away. So
Yeah, there's hidden Namco characters,
Yeah.
Pac-Man and Galaxians and things like that,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's
There's
a
the
literal
cats.
billboard of Pac-Man.
Yes.
Or
Yep.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, there's the girls that if you shoot them or whatever, they turn to
There's
cats.
cheerleaders at the end
Little-
of levels
the
where you can
cheerleaders.
shoot them
Little
and they
grizzly
turn into
bears.
those little, Japan cats or whatever.
yeah.
There's also a sun in the game. If you
Yes.
loop around the sun,
Yes.
it turns to nighttime. That's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Which is actually easier to play at nighttime, I felt like.
I agree.
The
I liked
contrast
it.
was better.
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's just a ton of cool random shit to do in the game.
There's little Easter eggs in a way.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that was probably in the arcade game, because I think I remember playing this in the arcade before I was ever aware of it as an NES game.
Yeah.
This is like in the arcades in '85, and this is one of those early black boxy type NES games, and this came out in '87, I think. This is one of those,
really? Wow.
Yeah, this is one of those early NES games that was almost a perfect arcade port, because the game at the original arcade game was basic enough that the NES could it could port it without any huge loss of quality. I mean, the sound I don't think was quite as good, but the graphics and stuff was about right.
I would like to play the arcade game of this.
Yeah.
Just to see what the difference is. Yeah.
Geeks Mania, if they have it.
I know they don't.
You might have to emulate it, but it wasn't like it was a popular game, but I feel like I might have played it in the arcade.
I don't know if they have the same amount of levels. When I was looking up to figure out how many levels are in this, there's 21 levels in the arcade game. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how many are in here.
I read up on that. Because, of course, none of us beat the damn game. Yeah. But there's, like, 11 main levels. Yep. And afterwards, I think it might have, like, a fake ending. And then it just loops. So then you go back to level 1 through 11. Yeah. It might get harder. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I think there might be 1 or 2 different endings to the game as well. Endings in quotations. I don't know. I'd be interested in slapping on a Game Genie and just seeing what happens. Yeah. Because the game's, it's so damn hard to play it without. Yeah, you only get 3 lives, no continues, like it's over.
It's a quarter muncher, but they just did
I have noticed you can get more lives as you play. You have to shoot stuff. Like if you get to like 30,000 points and over time, but as you play the game and you stay alive, I think you get 10 points a second, I think is what I was adding up. So you kind of have to shoot stuff if you want to stay alive.
Or like bomb the objectives.
Yep.
Which is so hard to do that, though.
It's pretty difficult.
You almost have to play it in 2-player. One guy grabs the bomb, the other guy shoots all the shit around you.
Yeah.
That's like a good way to do it.
Although 2-player, it's difficult to not be getting in each other's way. You gotta have discipline to, like, I stay up here and you stay down here kind of thing.
I think it has sort of a friendly fire where it doesn't actually kill your partner, but it kind of sends them spinning a little bit. And then they can get hit while they're spinning and just die. It's so annoying, but it's fun. I think that's about all I want to say about the game. I don't know if you had some more to add, but... Like, it's a really short game. It's an arcade port.
Yeah.
I mean, simply at the end of the day, it's like an 11-level arcade port.
Yeah, it's a Namco game. It's an arcade. Good. It's a button, or it's a quarter eater.
Yeah. So Kyle, based on Mr. Nostalgia over here with your childhood, riding on this game, what kind of rating would you give it out of 5 stars, sir?
I think I'd say I give it a 3.5. 3.5 to 4. It's my go-to game.
It's fun.
When I wanna,
it's fun. For me, I'll say single player a 3. Single player, I guess, somewhere between like a 2.5 and a 3. Because there's not a lot going on there. For 2-player, honestly, I put it as like a 3.5 to 4. Because it's so fun to just put in for 30 minutes and just have dumb fun.
Yeah.
Like, you will not be bored with, like, a 2-player mode in that game.
No, not at all.
I think it's one of the better, like, co-op 2-players, just because it's so stupid. But it's so fun. Like, grab a couple beers, grab a friend, and just, like, play the shit out of that game on an afternoon. Like, it's really fun. Single player, like, play Life Force, play Dragon Spirit, play, Gun Knack, play something else.
Mm-hmm.
But 2-player, for fuck's sake, like, I give it a 3.5.
It's a different feel.
Yeah, I think it's so much better. Dave?
I give it a 3.
3? That's pretty solid.
To me, for it to be higher than a 3, in a shooter, I like to see more power-ups and stuff. I mean, I do like the loop-de-loop thingy, but...
There's no power-ups.
It's a basic arcade game, so it's hard for those to get much beyond a 3 for me.
Yeah, I don't know what the original arcade was, but I assume this is a pretty solid port.
I think this is almost an exact port.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, there's certain parts, like the sound seemed a little scratchier and whatnot in places, I think.
Sure. But it's good. It's got a fun little catchy tune to it.
I love the music in this track.
Happy Absolutely. As hell. Your guy's literally like a smiley face in a plane.
I had to go find the tune and put it on my cell phone as a ringtone. I love it.
Yeah, super catchy. Solid game all around. I think Sunsoft made it too.
Yeah, Sunsoft published it. In Japan, I think it was just Namco.
Okay.
And Namco developed it either way, but Sunsoft published it.
Yeah, I mean, both developers, solid regardless. So, that's Sky Kid for you. I'd say pick it up. It goes for about $15, I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Actually, I think it was like 11. But maybe it's gone up now. I don't know.
Somewhere between 10 to 20-ish maybe. Somewhere. Pick it up, whatever. It's cheap.
Pick it up.
It's fun.
If you can find it.
I think it's one of those ones that spiked in price after somebody, was it Pat or James and
It might have
somebody
been
reviewed
an
it.
AVGN thing or whatever where it spiked up in price.
Yeah.
Because I think it used to be like a $7 game.
Yeah.
And it used to be really easy to find. Now, like, you got this again for me for my birthday. I feel like this should be the fucking Ben's birthday selection. But like,
Yeah.
No, you got that for me, and like I have not found it in the wild.
No, I haven't. I don't even remember where
Literally.
I got my copy.
Well, again, this was almost a black box era game.
You might have gotten it from your cousin.
No, I didn't.
Oh, then I have no idea.
I definitely.
Bought
I think
online or something.
I've probably found it in this. You know, I probably got it at pre-played.
Bastard.
Yeah, like a long time ago.
I haven't seen this game in ages at a store.
Yeah.
Before like retro gaming kind of blew up
Right.
here,
Yeah.
really. So
Right. Like, well, Dungeon Magic too. Like, I've actually been looking. I haven't found this game in the wild at all.
Yeah, I just happened to see it there when I was looking. I'm like, ooh, that is perfect.
Yeah. And that's a funny thing. Like, I don't
Yeah.
see either game at all in stores.
No.
But they're both cheap. So
Yeah.
pick them up while you still
before
can.
they spike.
Right. Grab them.
Again.
They're selling, like, again, Dungeon Magic only if you like that shit. But
You gotta be an
Sky
RPG
Kid's
nerd.
good for anyone if you like arcade games.
You can slap your kids in front of it and watch them rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these days it'll throw the controller in 5 seconds. Alright, so let's move on to our next game. I think I want to talk about Toki next.
Oh, sweet.
Another Kyle game. We got 2 Kyle games. I don't know. We always go to 4 for some reason, so fuck it. Kyle. What the hell?
I don't have a monkey mask.
Hey, we should note for the camera that the monkey's eyes on there totally looks like he's a perving out.
Oh yeah, he's
Like
perving.
he's just like either high or like looking at something.
I think that might have been from the arcade cabinet because I think they had the monkey perving out after the damsel in distress.
Dude, if that's on the marquee, I need to find.
I think
that.
it might be. It might have been. It might have been because it's his girlfriend or his wife or whatever being
this is
stolen.
yours.
But instead, he's been turned into a monkey, so of course he's, making monkey eyes at her. I guess.
This is a good manual too. Honestly, I've never looked at this manual.
I read it through before I played it the other night. It's good.
It's a breakdown of like all of the levels.
Yeah.
It has all the levels, all the power-ups, some bosses, enemies. It has all of the good shit. And the story, which is way more advanced than what they show you.
Have you ever played the arcade?
I have.
I have not.
The arcade is way better.
Is it? The sound is different. The look of everything seems different. Too.
It was a beefier arcade machine. They did an okay job for the NES. Like this might have turned out a lot better on a Super Nintendo or Genesis or something.
Is it kind of a straight port, or is it like a different game?
It's a straight port, but like for example, in the first level where you have that machine with the stuff coming out of it, like I think the logistics of that was a lot harder in the arcade. Like in the NES, it's almost a snore fest. Like you literally just shoot a few things on the bottom. There really isn't any danger unless you're stupid. In the arcade, it was dangerous. Mm-hmm. You had to be careful. It took some strategy to get through it.
I'm not sure if I read this correctly. Was the arcade one-hit kill?
I think so.
Because in this one, you actually have like a heart meter.
Yeah,
I can take hits.
It's a port with some tweaks. They did that with a lot of those early ports.
I want to say I read that on Wiki. They made the NES port pretty easy compared to the arcade.
Easier.
It was kind of a quarter sucker.
Yeah, you could just keep putting quarters in the arcade version. Yeah.
But Kyle, where did you play this as a child?
Well, I'd say let's date this back to when I was 8, hanging out with an old friend. He introduced me to this game, and I never had these games as a kid, so I always would go over to his house, and I remember him saying, hey, I got this really good game, and I've beaten the game before, let's see if we can beat it right now. And we played through it, and I think I probably just sat and watched because he just owned it, but he never beat the game, so I'm like, we're going to beat this at all? I thought you were good at this game. So he got to the ending guy, and then we never got through it, and he must have died. So eventually I started playing it, and I don't know, I was hooked at the game. So eventually I bought this game when I saw it at, like a used game store, and just playing it through myself. what attracts me to the game here is the music. Like, I'm a sucker for like really good music in a game, you know. And it's pretty straightforward, you know, a nice little side scroller game, and jumping on things.
Yeah, it's a side scrolling platformer that's kind of like Mario, except you're an ape.
Yep. Trying to, you know, defeat the evil wizard that stole your woman.
And turned you into a monkey.
Yeah, he's actually kind of a dick.
Yeah.
He like shows up in the beginning. He steals your girl and turns you into a monkey just for fuck you. That's
magic hand.
Yeah. And apparently there's like a forest spirit that gives you magical monkey powers. Go kill them.
And allows you to shoot balls out of your mouth.
Yeah.
This is one thing that little, if you let the attract mode play, that was straight from the arcade, except that like the hand of the wizard and all that was like way bigger in the arcade.
Okay.
The sprites are much more nerfed on the NES. You know, it's pretty close, but in the arcade, it's pretty awesome looking, actually.
It's totally different feel. Monkey looks different.
Yeah.
Sounds, everything is.
I would have to play that.
I don't know even where I saw the arcade version of it. Maybe it was like a MAME emulator.
I know I saw it once or twice in the wild. I can't remember where.
So the levels in this game are definitely different throughout of it, and I mean, you run into your different obstacles, and I don't even know their thought process to putting this game together. There's just so many different objects to deal with in here.
It's like a Ghosts and Goblins type thing. It literally shows you the scroll at the beginning, like these are all the levels, and then you know you got to check all your boxes. You know, you need your water level, you need your ice level, you need your jungle level and cave level.
Was
and
there
stuff.
A fire level?
I don't think there was a fire. Oh,
the last one.
Yeah, there was.
Kind of
Yeah, there was.
So yeah, check off your NES level box.
Yeah,
absolutely. On top of that, with all your typical levels, the enemies are very interesting. The bosses at the end of them,
they're so weird.
Like I don't know, what is that, a raisin or something with a dress on?
Yeah. The boss sprites were way better than the enemies. A lot of the enemies the sprites weren't that well defined, and they weren't that good contrast, but the bosses were mostly pretty good.
Yeah. Give me the instruction manual. I can't even remember, like, I just played this the other night. I can't remember what any of the enemies were. Except for the floating gorilla head with wings that shoots fireballs.
Then there's the astronaut guy.
Yeah, you'd have the
the
white gorillas that pop out of the ground and attack you. You'd have the little little bug trilobite little bug things that would come at you, or like little pill bugs type. That's what I meant to say. You'd have all kinds of little flying like pterodactyls or bugs or whatever.
I have the official list. There's an ape warrior, which I do remember those guys. They just kind of looked like generic knights. I had no idea that they were apes.
That was at that last stage. Yeah.
Show the camera here.
So,
ape warrior.
Yeah.
What is this show and telling?
Show and tell. You gotta know it.
You can edit that shit in. You don't need to do this.
Put it in.
That's the magic of the internet. But yeah, no, there's the flying head, which actually looks like Andros. The more that I think about it, from Star Fox.
Yeah.
Does he not look like fucking Andros?
He does.
And he flies with his ears too.
Yeah,
he's got the huge ears.
He's like, maybe they got that from here, from Toki.
Perhaps. He definitely does.
I called it. That's going to be in a Looper article soon. Anyway, there's a smoke genie, which looks like a ghost. A seed pod that looks like nothing. A bouncy monkey, I guess.
Yep.
Armor lizard. I mean, there's just like a baby dino. Those are actually kind of a bitch, because when they hatch, their eggs come at you from two sides, and they're there shooting fire at you.
Yeah.
Those are probably my worst enemies.
I'd say just jump on them. You can jump on everything in the game.
Yeah, and it doesn't...
Most of them don't hurt you when you jump on them.
Most.
Yeah. Right, like the jumping thing, you don't actually think about doing sometimes. Yeah. I notice myself after I die, I go, oh yeah, I can jump on shit.
Yes.
And I go back and do it.
Well, because you can shoot, you don't want to get close and risk getting hit.
Otherwise, there's just a bunch of generic enemies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really make sense.
Mostly jungle-ish things.
Yeah.
Sorta.
Yeah. That's basically... The instruction manual is actually really cool. If you have a chance to look at this online, it's neat for an NES manual, that's for sure.
But you can also get power-ups too with the things that you can shoot. There's different power-ups that you need to get throughout the level, like the rabbit feet. You get that to jump really high, and then there's
the helmet.
The helmet you'll get.
Football helmet.
You're invincible.
Literally, think of like old Indiana or Indianapolis Colts helmet. Like that's literally what it is.
Yeah, white
big ass helmet.
Yeah, and that thing's awesome. It makes you invincible.
Yes.
And there's not much in the game that can kill you when they have. You have to like jump down a pit in order to die.
Yeah.
And the pits, like you'd have to be stupid really to like get hit in any of the pits in the game.
Mostly until the end.
Until
Towards the end is kind of a bitch.
Then it gets difficult.
But for the most part, when you have the helmet, you like shouldn't die.
Now, one thing, you have a bunch of different fire power-ups about how the kind of fire he shoots out. Most of them are pretty good, but then there's the flamethrower one that doesn't have much range.
I don't like that one.
And sometimes you get that and you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like you have the ghosty guys flying above your head, shooting spears down at you, and if you don't have the range to hit them, you're screwed. And you can't jump and shoot up.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to run then.
So book it.
If you ever see the flamethrower, more beer. 1 second.
Well, and it looks exactly like one of the other things that is a power-up fire shot. Like the longer you wait between shots, the more powerful it gets. That one's good.
One's awesome.
But it looks the icon's very similar to the flamethrower.
Yeah. Just make sure if you see anything with the little like flames at the end, don't pick it up. Like fucking ignore that thing. It sucks. I think it does a lot of damage. I actually got stuck on a boss once with that. It's impossible.
Yeah, you don't want to be that close. You don't want to be that close.
You just die.
I don't even recall getting the flamethrower since the beginning.
It's not that many times, but there's a couple places where it's easy to accidentally get it, and then there's the ghosts right after.
It's actually at the very end of the game too. You have to make sure you do not pick it up, otherwise you're fucked.
Yeah. Whereas you have a spread shot, which is a very weak spread shot, just 3 shots, but it's still nice.
Is that the wave thing?
Well, no, there's the wave too. The wave is pretty good.
Stage.
But there's a 3 shot that just shoots a tiny fireball forward and then 2 45-degree angle fireballs. Which it's not amazing, but it's nice. It works.
Spread shot's always good in basically any NES game you can find.
Yeah. But none of them last that long, which frustrated me a little bit.
Yeah, they wear off after whatever many shots or seconds.
I don't think it's shots. I think it's seconds.
I think it's timed.
It seems to. So the game, for the most part, is actually insanely easy.
Mostly.
Like I said, for the most part.
The skateboarding part was a pain in the ass a little bit.
Skateboarding?
The rails.
You're talking about the minecart
rail
whatever
thing,
the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
It does kind of look like a skateboard.
Let's backtrack a little bit, because that's the very end of the game. That's like literally before the final boss.
Pretty much.
Jumping ahead a little bit. I guess, like, the first levels, it's just pretty straightforward. Just left to right, jump up in some vines, climb, kill some enemies. It's standard platform.
Yeah.
With range. It's like 1/5 the difficulty of Contra.
It's nice. It goes back. It goes left and right, or right and left. That's kind of cool. And up and down. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, and then like there are mini bosses at points.
Yep.
Where you have to get a key from them after you kill them in order to advance through the level.
Absolutely.
Some of the bosses are pretty unique. Like there's an elephant that shoots its horns at you.
And blocks your shots with his trunk.
Yeah. So like what's great is like the first time that I faced him when I was playing with Kyle. I died to him quite a few times. The second time I faced him, I was on one heart left. I somehow beat him. I was so excited about it. I was like, yes.
And the first boss was so relatively simple, and I liked that the later bosses were more like first boss. If you just keep shooting, you can beat him. Like if you have turbo on and you just hold it down, you'll beat him. Whereas I think all the other bosses took a little bit of strategy. Like you had to aim your shots or time them or whatever.
Okay. So your strategy for most bosses is jump and shoot.
Mostly, but some of them some of them you had to aim a little. That's what I'm getting at is the first boss you literally could just stand there and shoot. And I was upset at first. I'm like, oh, these are all gonna be super easy lame bosses. But no, they weren't. I mean, some of them they
get harder.
Yeah, they get harder and they get more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the boss with the I think it's level 5. The boss that kidnapped the girl. That's the hands and the feet and the heart. And so
that's really hard.
At first, I was losing because the feet are coming slowly closer to you, and if you don't do anything about it, they get close enough and they hit you, and you're dead, and you take a hit.
And you don't have that many invincibility frames.
No,
you will get hit twice in a row and die.
You have to shoot the feet to knock them back.
Is that what you do?
Yes.
Oh,
you
really?
shoot the feet enough times, and it knocks them backwards. And then once they're back far enough, then you jump up and shoot the heart. But when you shoot the heart, you have to watch, because then if you shoot the heart too much, then his other hand covers up the heart.
Yep.
So you have to only shoot the heart when the hand isn't covering it, and you have to keep shooting the feet enough so they stay away from you.
I thought it was all RNG, dude.
No,
I had no idea it was actually a pattern.
That was a jump and time it just right.
I think you could, but I was struggling with that, and then I figured out, you just shoot the feet, and you have to shoot them a bunch, but you can, if as long as you spend enough time shooting them, they'll never get anywhere near you.
And then they start stepping back.
Dude, I want to replay the game now and actually do that. I did not know.
Yeah, it was weird. I did not notice it at first, because you have to shoot them a lot of times.
I was trying to jump over the feet.
Yeah.
I usually got hit when I did that, but
it's hard.
if you had enough life, you can basically just tank a shot and then sit on the heart and just blow the shit out of it.
Yep.
Huh. Well,
that's
I'm going to try it again.
Those bosses I liked way better. The ones that had some uniqueness to them.
Yeah, like the elephant's really tough if you if you don't know what's coming, because his trunks come at you in a weird motion and you have to jump over them. And the timing's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Hey, shoot, or not his tusks.
It's his tusks. Yeah.
The second level boss.
You're a pusher.
The second level boss was weird. That was the guy. He's like the first boss where you just pretty much shoot him, but he shoots out burp. The word burp.
Yeah,
and you either dodge or shoot the letters so they don't hit you.
That's like the turd in a dress or something.
Yeah, it's like the turd monster from Dogma or something. Yeah.
It's literally a piece of shit.
Yes.
Burp at you.
Yes.
Big turd.
Yeah. It was interesting. It wasn't
what
terribly hard.
What were they thinking?
It was fun.
It was fun.
It's awesome.
That's a blast.
I don't know why that was the boss in the... No, that wasn't the water level. That was the fire level.
The water level was just like a fish or
That's
whatever.
That's like the octopus, I thought.
Whatever the fuck it is. Some water thing.
The water level was the floating eye creature that spits out the eyeballs.
Why not?
Yeah, it was like it looked like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or the Michelin Man or something.
Okay.
And it floated in the middle of the screen and would shoot out eyeballs.
And then there's razor blades.
And and see, that one was cool. That I don't know if you guys noticed, you have an upward shot, an upward angled shot. So if you stay at a 45-degree angle and just shoot upward, you can blast him really easily before he does the buzzsaw thing.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
So otherwise you'd have to jump and shoot, which you can't get as many shots. Whereas if you just stand there and shoot diagonally, you can kill him really quickly.
Cool.
So that was cool.
I'd like to see a speed run of this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's some interesting things to pull off, because everything's kind of timing based.
Yeah.
When you get power ups, they all wear off like within a set number of times.
Yeah.
I did try using the helmet on a boss. It doesn't do anything as far as I could tell, because I got to the boss with the helmet on, which normally kills everything you come in contact with. Didn't kill a boss.
No, that makes sense.
Out, but whatever. Let's just talk quickly about the final level, which. So Kyle and I, when we played this game, there is a two-player mode. It's basically the original like Mario 1 two-player mode, where you each play your own dude and you progress through the game separately. So I kind of watched when Kyle fucked up, and then I try to like do the same thing but better. He beat the game before I did though, but whatever. Fucker, asshole.
I laughed at you.
Fuck. Shit. Fuck.
Elephant.
The worst, dude. The elephant. But like the second time, I beat him without getting hit.
Yeah.
That's why I was happy. But so the final level is pretty easy for the most part until you get to like the minecart level, which is in a fuck ton of different video games like Mario RPG, Rocky and Bullwinkle,
McKids.
McKids. Yes, McKids. That's what I was trying to think of. Where the controls change. They just change. So when you're on the minecart, normally in any other game, when you press jump, the minecart leaves you behind. Mm-hmm. You just jump and you die. In this game, when you just press jump, you move with the minecart. Like, you move in unison. It just breaks the laws of gravity. It breaks everything.
Physics.
So when you're trying to direct yourself to land on it, that causes you to fall, which I could not figure out that you just don't use the D-pad.
Yeah. Take your fucking hand off the D-pad and just jump when you want to. Now, you do have to duck sometimes because there's obstacles and shit, and sometimes you do have to jump. But again, it's like down and jump is the only buttons you will ever press on the minecart until the track ends and you have to jump to a different minecart thing.
And literally you have to wait till the last bleeding second. You have to be in the edge of the mine platform and extend your jump as long as possible. Otherwise, you will pass horizontally through the platform you're trying to land on.
It takes practice. It takes timing. Once you get the hang of it, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those, what speedrunners would call like pixel perfect. It's kind of like one of those where you have to be basically on the falling minecart and jump at just the right frame in order to hit the new one. It takes time.
Yeah.
But luckily, if you get to a certain point, there's a checkpoint in the final stage.
Yes.
Where you can get on a minecart and there's a 1-up. Now you have to take a damage hit in order to get the 1-up. But that makes you basically able to try the end boss infinitely. The end boss, I think, is what, the wizard?
Yeah.
Well, he has
sort of.
So yeah, he's the wizard from the initial track mode, and he does lightning and turns into this bigger version of himself.
Oh yeah.
And he's got like a voodoo mask and his hand and his feet, or his claw and his feet, and a red robe, I think.
Yeah.
And he shoots out his feet or his hand, and he shoots out his head. And it's kind of
a fireball or something. I can't remember.
I think at first he shoots little bouncing fireballs that are. He does it like 2 or 3 times, and you keep blasting him easily, and then he goes to his second mode, and that's where he does his head and his hand.
If you get the right power up right before the boss, you can actually kill him in the first cycle before he really does anything.
Yeah.
But then the second one is where he starts like shooting his head at you.
Yes.
And the head is kind of a bitch to get used to.
Time.
Sometimes it comes right at you and you don't know what to do, and it's really hard.
Yeah, sometimes he stops like literally just a pixel away from you, and you're fine. And other times he goes to the very edge of the screen, and it's like if you knew he was coming, you could run forward and duck under him. But if you didn't, you're screwed. You're going to take a hit. I think
I would time it just right, and then jump and
shoot, and of course he kind of like protects his
tiny little weak spot, his heart.
Yeah, so like it does take time, but there is like a couple ways I think to quick kill him. Once you understand the pattern, unless he like throws you a head that's right on you, which rarely. I mean, maybe 1 in 5 times does that actually happen, but you can kill him pretty quick.
Usually I had no problem beating him as long as I had a few extra hearts. If I got to him with just 1 heart, like when I was struggling, I would go through my first couple continues and then finally get to that end stage and that checkpoint, and so I'd only have 2 hearts then. And I'd take 1 hit on the minecart because I didn't want to do the jump thing. And so I'd always get to him with 1 heart left, and then that wasn't quite enough.
That was it.
So, that's Toki. I'll start off with the rating. I think it's actually pretty damn good. I don't get quite the music thing that Kyle does, but I
thought it was kind of.
I don't know. It doesn't have like that track that sticks with me. I kind of just forget about it as soon as I'm done with it. But again, I never played it as a kid.
I spent a lot more time on it.
Right, I played it for the first time months ago at your place. Like I didn't even know the fucking game existed. Like, I don't have any nostalgia for it, but for like a quick platformer, if you're looking for something quick and something kind of challenging but fun at the same time and not shitty, go to Toki. It's fun. I don't even own this game. This is actually Kyle's copy that he let me borrow. I'll have to give it... I'm going to go with one of those weird quarter ratings where I'm going to give it like a 3.25. Because I think it's better than average. It's better than trash. But... I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Like, I think anything 3 and above is actually pretty good for NES, because there's a lot of shit below 3 that's like LJN and Wayne's World categories, which are just like, get the fuck out of my console. There's a lot of trash on there. So I'm going to give it a 3.25. I liked it. I think it's good. It could probably be longer. But if you're looking for like a 40-minute game that you can beat, it's fun.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I would give it a solid 3. It's not a game I would go and replay a lot. I don't think the replay value is super high.
Yeah.
There was a lot of parts that were kind of flickery, and the visuals, the graphics weren't they weren't as defined as I would like. They were kind of flickery. They were kind of like the bosses were great. If more of the enemies were more like the bosses, I would have liked the graphics a lot better. The sound was okay. I found it a little forgettable too.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad. But I just don't remember it.
The controls are good. The gameplay's good. If it was a little more polished, I could have given it a 3.5 or a 4. But it wasn't quite as polished as I would have liked. It did fail a little bit from the arcade. So on the NES,
I did notice myself too. The graphics are kind of weird at points. It doesn't get for a lot.
They did get flickery.
I think on the rail cart part, if you were shooting all the time, it would slow it down a little bit.
Maybe
from too many things on the screen.
But you don't need to ever shoot on the rail cart parts.
But I was trying to figure out if that would actually help you by slowing it down. But it's not like it really matters at that point. But
it's not like Mega Man.
No,
where you can adjust yourself. It's like you're on a minecart and fuck you if you don't get it right. So.
Yeah.
Kyle, Nostalgia Man.
No, man. I definitely gotta give it a better score than both of yours. But I mean, I'd say 375. I think that's just because, nostalgic values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all up to interpretation.
Playing it for, 20 years now.
You'll have to try the arcade version more.
I do got it.
This game actually gets me excited to try to play the arcade version.
Yeah.
Not a lot of games can do it. Like Pac-Man, I don't give a fuck. It's the same stupid game for the most part. I mean, there's 5 different Pac-Mans, whatever.
Yeah.
But Toki? No, I'd love to play the
There's
arcade.
only a couple.
The NES game was fine.
And they never took the time to, make a new one for any of the new platforms.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I would have loved to see this on the Genesis or the SNES or something.
I think there actually is a Genesis game for it.
That's right. There is Going Ape Spit.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot. I don't think I don't think it's the exact same game though. I think that's more of a. That's not a straight port. That's more of a modified version.
Yeah, I think it's like a sequel of some sort.
Yeah.
Really?
We'll have to try that.
I think we'll have to find
So I think it's called Toki Going Ape Spit. Ape Spit.
Going Ape Spit. Yes.
Look it up, dude. Try to find it.
I'm gonna find it.
Play
yeah. I'll emulate it if I can
it
find it.
might be good or it might be Sega Genesis-y bad. I don't know.
I think it's. I don't think it's. I think it's a more of a generic platform. I don't think it's quite as unique as this one is. I don't think the power-ups are the same, but I don't remember it very well.
It's not the same game, right?
It's the same characters, but I don't think it's the same. I don't think it's a direct port of the arcade. I think it's a little more of a modified platformer, as I recall. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I'll have to play it again.
You're a monkey fighting weird shit.
You are still the same monkey. Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
We'll go with it. So yeah, Toki, a fine game on the NES. Pick it up if you can find it, but shit, dude, I haven't seen this game in the wild as well forever. If ever, I don't know. I can't remember the last time I've seen it.
Nah.
It's kind of an uncommon game of sorts. I think it goes for 25, 30-ish.
Yeah, this one came out on... This was an 89 arcade game and a 91 NES game.
Yeah.
So, I don't think they produced a ton of it, probably. But...
Yeah. It's another Taito game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was developed by Taito, but anything with the fucking Taito label is kind of harder to find by default.
Yeah. It was developed by TAD Corporation. I forget if that's a part of Taito or something else.
Yeah, I've never heard of them. So
yeah.
Yeah, pick it up. I think it's fun. The fourth game on our list is Dragon Spirit: The New Legend on NES.
Okay, cue the effects. I should have just turned into a dragon right there. Otherwise, it's Ben's fault.
Oh god, I don't know how to edit that shit. Alright, Dave's a dragon now. There you go. I don't know fucking any of that stuff. I'm gonna go to class or something. I wonder if work will pay me. I need to
put a picture over his head.
That's what I was gonna do. I should make up an excuse for work,
Slee Stack.
I need to know video editing to manage your computers.
No, find the one of the dragon with the sweat drop or the face and do
that. Have a naked girl running on Dave's face.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Ooh. All right, Kyle. This is kind of both of our games from our childhood, but you fucking want to talk about it, so go for it.
Yeah! So like I said, this is the same. My old friend who turned me on to Toki also had Dragon Spirit and turned me on to this game. It's an amazing, quick, top-down...
I would not say quick.
Well, casual. It's a casual game that if you don't expect to complete it right away and you just need something to play for a little bit, it's great. But if you're looking to complete this game, well, that's a totally different story. You'll start the game off and you're trying to... Who's the boss in the beginning?
It's Zawal, the demon Zawal.
Zawal and Grawal or whatever.
So whether you beat Zawal or die to him is going to determine if you're going to be an easy mode or a hard mode.
Blue Dragon or Gold Dragon?
Gold Dragon is easy. I mainly focused on Blue Dragon hard.
Yeah. I think that's where everyone should focus. Maybe for the first time, if you're a pussy, go on the gold mode, but don't be a pussy. Be a Blue Dragon.
All these years, I had no idea, the difference. As a kid, I'm like, oh, died, whatever. Well, I'll just play as Gold Dragon,
Yeah.
whatever. Didn't expect to ever complete the game, though. But lately, since we're going to be actually reviewing the game, I've been focusing on blue. And the game gets to be a pain in the ass over time. And when I say it's a type of game that you have to constantly keep trying to play because enemies repeat themselves. You know, it's not different every different time that you try playing it.
Oh, right. So, like, everything has a set pattern.
Yeah.
So, like, eventually you can get... every shooter has a pattern. If you can understand the pattern, you can beat the shooter.
This game, I feel like, had a very distinct learning curve. Like, some games I feel like I'll get so far and then I'll die and be like, oh, that's bullshit. This game, I felt like I was getting progressively better.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
By the time I was doing well in the later stages, the first stages were a breeze. I mean, I'd still take a hit here and there, but I pretty much knew everything. I was getting to level 6 without really a sweat.
Yeah. Sure.
And then anything after that is kind of like, oh.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
The polar level is the first one I want to talk about, where it starts getting really hard. It's your, of course, every NES game has an ice level.
Yeah.
This one, obviously, there's no ice mechanics, like you can't slip when you're flying or anything like that. But this starts bringing in like giant icicle daggers on the side of your screen
That you can't really see very well.
Right. And I'm going to reference a Life Force on this one, where the last stage, you have to basically go in between the closing barriers.
The fast part.
You have to do the escape part.
Yes.
The fast escape part,
Yes.
where you just have to blow barriers and just get the fuck out of the level. This one's pretty goddamn hard, because the more power-ups you pick up, the bigger your dragon gets. Bigger your dragon gets, the harder it is to squeeze in these ice parts.
It's not as fast, but even at the speed it goes, it's hard to fit your guy through stuff.
Well, there's a speed up part of it.
Yeah,
Yes. But it's not Life Force speed, but it's faster.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't have an upgraded weapon at this part, good luck, because you're, like, sweating. You're sweating hard.
Yeah, you have
like,
to shoot through the ice walls fast enough to get through them.
Yeah, so there's ice walls, there's shit on the side,
Yes.
you have to blow through it all just to get to the very end. And then at the very end, you don't really get any more power-ups, then you just get the end boss, which we've already referenced is the boss that blows himself apart the more you hit him.
Yes.
I think he's actually maybe the second hardest boss in the game.
Probably.
Not that he does anything, but just shooting him, like, tons of stuff comes out, and it's hard to dodge. It goes so fast.
Especially if you kill him too quickly. Yeah, you could kill yourself by putting too much stuff on the screen.
Yeah. Like, if you have a full life bar, it's not bad, but if you have a full life bar, you usually have better power-ups than nothing, so you can kill him in 2 hits.
Yeah.
Real bitch. So let's talk about the 7th stage, which is where... this is kind of a weird stage. I don't know any other NES game like it, where you have, like, to basically take a picture you have, a glass picture, and just take a hammer right in the middle, and then have 2, like, edges of the glass pane, and they kind of just move with each other with just a narrow space in the middle where you can maneuver.
Actually, I think you're talking about level 5. That's level 5.
That's level 5?
That's level 5.
That's before ice.
God.
Yeah, I guess level 5 is where it gets hard.
I was like, what?
Which one's 7?
7 is the deep sea.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Oh,
7
God.
is...
So the game starts getting harder on level 5.
Level 5.
Yeah.
I was getting them confused too, but no, you're right. Level 5 sucks too. Because you have very sometimes it gets really close where you have a tiny little space, and certain spots if you don't go to the top of the screen, then you're kind of stuck in this where if you're not the tiny dragon, good luck getting out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get to the top of the screen, then you're probably fine. But then you have to be careful. Those enemies coming up, you have a split second to kill the enemies.
There's the
that come.
frogs that like
The
you have to
frogs.
actually bomb and all
Yes.
that.
Man, and they shoot quick.
Yeah.
Too.
And you don't have very much chance to get lined up and bomb them because of all the jaggy stuff.
You have to hit them when they jump, basically.
And the pill bugs too. You can only bomb them at a certain time, and they do the same
The little
thing.
caterpillar.
Yeah, the little
little
Yeah.
brown.
I memorized those, and I was on top of that.
Right.
Those
Yeah.
frogs were a pain in the ass because usually they shot 2 fireballs
Yes.
as the walls were closing.
Yes.
And there was 2 of them. And then there's those birds or whatever were flying at you.
And I think they were one of those enemies too. There's a lot of enemies where when they're on the ground you can bomb them, but when you get close enough, then they jump up and then you have to shoot them.
Yeah.
There was a lot of enemies in an easier level where if you have to go up close enough to trigger them, and then you can blast them, or you
the
can
jump
bomb
stage.
them. Yeah. Yeah, and so there's certain enemies like that where you can either bomb them or shoot them, but depending on how close you are is what height they're at.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Again, the game is just about learning. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually
Memorize.
really interesting. The last couple levels are like understandably the hardest. What I like is the game starts out pretty nice and easy. I mean, on hard mode, which is the Blue Dragon, I mean, it's always kind of difficult starting out, but it gets way progressively harder as the game goes along.
So level 7, you got to talk about the eels at the end.
So, it's going to be hard for me to talk about them because I'm so used to them. Other than, before Kyle got here, we were just playing for bullshit on the easy mode, and I died to him once.
So level 7, I always thought was kind of a breather level after level 5 and 6.
It's
5
easy
the cave
until the eels.
It's easy until the eels. It feels like a breather level, and then all of a sudden you get these holes in the ground. These eels pop out, and you can blast them right away, and they're dead. And it's this is fine. But then a second or two later, they pop out again. And you have to keep shooting them, and if you don't shoot them right away, they just fill like a quarter of the screen with just death.
Fast.
just
Fast.
all these
shots. Anywhere near
they just
that
do this
hole, you're
huge
screwed.
spread shot. And the thing is, you keep shooting them, but they keep popping up, and eventually they're so close to you that you don't have time to shoot them before they start.
Nope.
So the whole trick of that thing is you just have to get at the top of the screen and just let them shoot down there, and but if you don't know, if you're hiding at the bottom of the screen, you're screwed. So that whole level, the whole thing about that is just figuring out, I need to get up here as soon as possible, and I need to go back and forth on the right side of the screen.
Stay away from the whole
Stay away from the whole thing, yes. Exactly. Otherwise, good luck.
I got to the point where I had to memorize where the holes were.
Yes.
So I was over here, then I was over here, and then...
If you accidentally fuck up in your memory which side the hole is on,
you're gonna get blasted.
It's a trap. You would think you're supposed to shoot them. You're not. You're supposed to get the hell away from them.
Yep, I didn't waste my time shooting them. I didn't even know you could shoot them.
You can, but
just stayed away.
Don't bother.
And the end boss for that level can be a bitch if you don't kill him in 2 hits.
Yeah, the horseshoe crab. He just starts spitting
so many
out
things.
It's bullet hell at that point.
I screwed up a lot where I went into him with single shots. So
the
basic dragon.
Fucking hard, dude.
Couldn't do it. So I had a two-headed dragon,
Yeah.
and I finally got him, but that was even a pain in the ass.
He might be the hardest boss for me if you don't kill him right away.
Yeah, if you're not powered up.
Yeah, if you screw up a little bit in that level and you go to him, good luck, dude.
I spent some time on it.
It's tough.
Then level 8, that's where it gets dark.
That was originally my most hated level.
Yes.
There's
almost the whole level is like this.
The level, you go through the first 25%, maybe 50% of the level, and it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy.
Yeah.
Then you get to a part where they just turn off the lights.
Yep.
And there's an eye guy shooting at you, and there's a bunch of shit you don't see that has a very random pattern that is just falling from the screen.
And when the lights are off, the only way for you to tell what stuff is there is what your bullets hit.
Yeah.
You can sort of see when you kill things, and then there's these invulnerable rocks that you can see your bullets hitting, so maybe you don't run into them, but you can never kill them.
I remembered where they were when the lights were
That's
on.
the better way to do it.
Yeah.
But then you have those jellyfish that do these weird wave pattern, and you pretty
That's what I'm talking about.
You pretty much you have to kill if you wait too long. Good luck. There are going to be too many of them on the screen, and then you won't be able to dodge them, and they move too fast. So yeah, you're screwed then.
And they move in a weird pattern.
It's a weird pattern.
They do this up and down kind of bouncy pattern, and they come right towards you. And there's a fucking million of them.
Oh my god.
So if you're on that part and you don't have a good power up, you were sitting there sweating your ass off, just smashing that shoot button.
That's where you really want White Dragon.
Yeah.
You really want White Dragon.
But if you don't have that, you're just dying, just your arm gets a workout playing this game for sure.
One thing too, where I got confused was to knowing when I had to do the drop shot,
the bombs,
or what are the bombs there?
Yeah.
I don't think you ever have to when it goes dark.
Oh yeah, you do.
Oh, there's nautiluses. There's there's spiders in the nautiloids.
Are there?
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes some of them are glowing that you can get power ups from. Mm-hmm. But and there's a whole section where there's these things that fly at you, and you have to bomb them, and they move. Most enemies that you bomb don't move that fast, but those ones do. Yeah. And those really screw you up.
I think I just skipped them. I think I just went up ahead of them.
You could maybe do that too.
Okay.
But those, again, your shots don't target them. So if you don't know where they are, then you have no way of telling while they kill you.
I just moved back and forth if I knew there was no whatever those spikes were.
Yeah.
And that stage is the end boss.
So that stage, the water that you're in, goes up to where it's water coming out of this giant snake's mouth, which is really trippy. And it's the whole thing is you're swimming up its backwash or something. It's really weird.
It's actually kind of cool because at the glacier level you go into the water to try to find the wizard.
Yes.
And then you're in the water, and then you find the thing that's shooting the water.
Yeah, which is this giant snake, and he shoots like little like laser icicle things out of his eyes, and then he shoots with a super long tongue that you kind of have to lure to one side and then go to the other side and then shoot its eye.
It's
and
a
then
real pain in the ass.
It's fast, yeah.
It's a hard boss to get used to. I don't know if there's even any quick kill to it. I'm sure there is, but I don't know what the hell it is.
Well, I don't think, because you have to hit both eyes, and they're just far enough apart that unless you had, like, if you had the 2 dragon options, you could maybe do it, but you only have a few seconds before that tongue comes out, and it's hard to hit both of them when the tongue is out, because it separates you from one of them.
That'd be a fun thing to do in an emulator, is just repeat that boss over and over to see if there's literally any way to quick kill him.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. That boss took me forever. You beat him, you get to the final level.
The Dark Castle.
Which, if you go in the easy mode, you skip most of those levels. What do you skip, like 1 through, or you skip like 5 through 7? And
I think you only play 1, 3, maybe 5. Oh no, maybe not 5. It's like 1, 3, and like 7 and part of 9 or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
You only play a few levels, but the end level, level 9 on hard mode, is hard.
It has like 5 or 6 parts. Like you keep you're in this generic looking castle, and you get through a section of it, and then you find a little portal that takes you to another section of the castle. When you first see the portal, you're like, "Oh, great, the boss." And you're like, "No, it's another castle." And at first, it's not even clear. Did I do something wrong? Am I? Because at first it looks like it's repeating, but then you can tell it's a different part of the castle. Then there's another portal. You go into that. There's another section of the castle. You do it like 3 or 4 or 5 times.
The first couple sections are okay.
Yeah.
They're hard because they're super cramped. You're used to an open space.
Yeah.
The level 9 is the first time, other than maybe the like mirror stage, where I'll call it, but whatever, that you are in really cramped corridors, and you have to pick the right path sometimes.
To some dead end.
And there's just shit in the way, and you just have to like make tight little maneuvers around the castle.
And there's spears coming out of the walls at you.
And there's spears coming out.
Yourself.
It's tough. It's not easy.
The power downs.
Yeah, they give you a ton of power-ups, but also a ton of skulls that power you down. So you have to dodge those. Or if you only have one head, I guess you could just eat them and it doesn't matter, but they don't kill you, they just power you down.
Yeah, it still sucks.
Yeah.
Like, being the first dragon is just like the worst thing ever.
So yeah, you get through the first of those sections, and then the third one, you get the little ogres that throw boomerangs at you.
Those are the hardest enemies in the game.
You gotta be in the right area.
Yeah, if you don't kill them quick, those boomerangs follow you around, and like if you have 2 or 3 of the boomerangs following you, good luck. They track them.
You can shoot them.
But yeah,
pain in the ass.
If you kill them quickly, they're fine. Like, I think if you kill the boomerangs, it might kill the guys too. But
I don't think so.
Maybe, but either way, if there's a bunch of them following you, they don't just go off the screen. They follow you. They track you. So
you kill those guys, and then you get to another room which has more of them.
Yeah.
Which has a bunch of power-ups. You get the power-ups, hopefully. They can all be skulls, which I've had happen before where you don't get any power-ups.
Yeah.
Then you get to what I consider maybe the second, third most dangerous room in the game, where you have these statues that throw a ball and chain at you.
Spike mace.
Yeah, spike mace. And goddamn, do those go quick.
Yeah.
They come right at you.
Like, you could shoot their head, and then the ball comes out, you have to dodge it, and then you shoot their head again, and that usually kills them. But if you think you're just going to kill them too quick before they shoot the ball at you, you're probably wrong.
You can if you have, like, the best power-ups.
Right. But in most cases, you're going to have to dodge them, and so you're probably waiting too long to dodge them, hoping that you can kill them fast, which sucks.
It reminded me of the eels or worms in the deep sea.
Yes.
Just being in the right place at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their balls basically go... I think when they throw them, wherever you are at the time that they start their animation is where the ball goes. So you can go a little bit closer to them. They shoot the balls. As long as you back up in time, it won't hit you.
Right.
But it makes you piss yourself a little bit.
It's so fast.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's
you have a
scary.
split second to dodge.
They do a lot of damage. I think if it hits you dead on, it'll do 2 or 3 points of damage.
Ooh.
It's not easy. And there's a lot of them. There's like 8 of them in that corridor.
Yes. Yeah, you keep killing them. You're like,
forever.
That's the last one, right? Nope. There's another.
Yeah.
That's the last one, right? Nope.
So you kind of have to know where they are, so you can start shooting them when they spawn on the screen.
Yeah.
Then after that, if you see those guys, you're on the boot mode to begin with. But then there's 3 straight boss battles.
Yes.
There's the like kind of Hydra looking thing where there's
three-headed dragon.
Three dragon heads coming out of a hole. That's easy as hell.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of us had an issue with that.
I think the last head shoots out more stuff or gets faster, so I think it's a little easier if you spread your shots amongst the three heads, so you can then kill them all really quickly in rapid succession. But if your power-ups are good enough, it doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah.
They're not that dangerous.
I've never had a problem with that one.
Yeah.
It's a straightforward boss.
It's a little more dangerous if you take your time killing the last head.
Yeah. The second boss you face right afterwards is the wizard from the very beginning of the game.
Yeah. From the cutscenes.
He's really easy.
Yeah.
As long as so he'll spawn in, I think, sort of random locations. One of like 3 or 4 locations on the screen. If he spawns far away from you, you just pot shot him. It's pretty easy. He'll do one attack, which basically shoots in front of him and sort of diagonally, but there's open spaces in the middle. If he spawns towards the front of the screen, that's actually really tough. I usually just avoid him right there.
You don't have a lot of time to dodge.
Yeah, you can't really dodge it. I don't know, but...
It's tough because his shots are wide. His spread shots are wide enough in front that you think you've dodged enough, but you might not have. Like, you really have to dodge far to not get hit by it.
Yeah, but, I mean, he's pretty easy.
Pretty easy.
You might get hit once, but then you should know the pattern because it doesn't change.
Yeah.
The third boss... I think it's the hardest boss in the game. I'll say it is.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you don't have heavy power-ups.
Yeah, if you have like the initial shitty power-up, he's
Good
like
luck.
fucking takes forever and it's hard as hell.
So he shoots these little laser balls out that you can't kill as far as I can tell.
Balls.
They only last a short period of time before they die, but then he immediately summons more of them. And then periodically he spits out this stream of this flamethrower in a random direction in front of him, like 45-degree angle at some direction in front of him. And when he shoots that, and for a few seconds after, that's the only time you can hurt it.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to, like, trigger the shot, dodge it, get up close to him, and just hammer him as much as you can, and hope he doesn't spit the balls out at the same time that you're doing that. And so all the while you're doing this, you have to constantly keep your eye on those stupid balls, because they have nothing to do with killing them, but you always got to keep your eyes on them.
I mean, they have a pattern. I mean, it's literally like playing Arkanoid, where it's just ding, ding, ding. Like, you know where it's going to go. But there's 3 of them, and a boss that's just kind of like randomly maneuvering on the screen. It's a lot of shit to keep track of.
And if you have the regular gun, like you're saying, you can go for a couple minutes and you're still fighting the guy. Especially if you're not paying attention to the fact that you're only hurting him when he opens his hands and has that little, otherwise he's blocking your shots.
Yeah. Alright, well I think we're at the point where we need to rate Dragon Spirit the New Legend. Kyle, what would you rate this game?
It was a fun game.
It was.
I love it.
Damn
a
good
lot.
Game.
375.
375, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
For me, this is actually a game which was
NES
kind of
game.
funny. I played this once as a kid. It got rented at like a daycare that I was at. I played it. I couldn't get past the first level, but I always remembered in my mind as a game that I always wanted to go back and play. Then I went over to Kyle's one day and he's like, "You want to play Dragon Spirit?" I'm like, "This game looks
just
pretty
like
lame." So if you look at the label, it's pretty shit label. Like it has kind of that weird like early 80s anime feel to it where it's
Well, never mind that it's a guy holding a sword, so why would you think that was a shooter if you're into shooters?
no idea.
And if you were into role-playing games, you'd be annoyed if it was a shooter, maybe.
It has like a terrible label for the NES. It looks like garbage.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't
It's misleading.
Yeah, you
So-
wouldn't think of like this.
Yeah, just like Sky Kid there.
Right.
You know,
Right. Well, at least Sky Kid, Sky, and probably Shooter,
Right.
hopefully, of some sort. Dragon Spirit, the New Legend? What the fuck would that be?
I
don't
thought
know.
the same thing when I played it for the first time.
Who knows? But I was excited when I finally realized that was the game I was missing from my childhood. I played the shit out of it until I finally beat it. I'm going to give it a solid 4.5 stars.
Whoa!
I love the game. I think the music's great. The only thing that really throws it back is the graphics are kind of shit.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like, they're not
very good.
They're early NES-looking graphics. They're not great.
Yeah.
But the music's fine. The controls are great. The power-ups, there's a ton of them.
Yeah.
Tons of levels. And the levels are all a little bit different. There's things to do. It has everything I'm looking for in a shooter. So I give it a 4.5 out of 5, maybe even more. I don't know.
Wow.
I love this game. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I agree.
I would give it a solid 4.
Yeah.
I was actually, before this morning, before I played it through some more, I was going to give it a 3.5. Honestly, like certain things like the sound effects or the music was actually so much better at the end of the game.
Yeah.
The early music was so much worse than the later music, so I was going to give it a much more mediocre score on the music. The graphics don't really get better throughout the game. If this game had Life Force level graphics, this would be a solid 4.5. The power-up system's awesome. The just having the extra life code so you can just spam the later levels and practice helps a lot. I really appreciated that. It really grew on me. At first, I was really struggling and frustrated with it, but the more I played it, like I said, there's a couple things. It was a little more polished. The graphics were a little better. The sprites were a little better. I would have rated higher, but I got to give it a 4 just because the more you play it, the more I enjoy it, and I definitely has replayability. I would go back and play it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to revise. I'm going to go with 4.
Ooh, changing the score for 3.75.
Yeah, I know.
So that's where it gets tricky with the 0.25s and the 7.5s. It's like, well, why the fuck don't you just bump it up or down? But it's tough.
I'd say it is better than Toki.
It's a goddamn good game.
Yeah, it's like your game.
To me, a 4 is a game that anytime I want to sit down and play it, I would enjoy playing this game. Yeah. It has replayability. It has I have a fondness for it. A 3 or lower, it's acquired taste. Sometimes, I may get bored of this game.
Oh, absolutely. For me, so this game is $6 at any game store. It's extremely common. Everyone should fucking just go buy this game, because why the hell not? It's a wonderful game for the NES library. It's an easy shooter to get into, but it's also advanced in order to beat it. One thing that's frustrating
about this is other games in the series are 2-player, like Dragon Saber on the PC Engine and stuff. If this was a 2-player, so much that would be pretty cool. I mean, maybe
how many
the game...
shooters on NES are 2-player?
Well, that's the thing. There aren't enough of them.
Life Force isn't. Gradius isn't.
Life Force was 2-player.
Was it? Oh yes. Yeah, shit, it was.
Gradius was not.
I didn't say that.
Excuse me.
I have such a skewed view of Life Force.
Dude,
I owned it as a kid.
I love Life Force.
You're basically reviewing Life Force in every one of these round
I know.
tables.
Well, it's one of those...
fucking throw Life Force on the next...
It's one of those Mario Zelda type of games you compare everything to. To me, that's a 4 or 5 right there.
Everyone had Life Force as a kid. Yeah. It's hard as fuck, but it's interestingly good.
It looks so good. It sounds so good. This game was really close.
This game was made by Bandai, which made garbage.
Yeah, what else did they make?
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh,
they made Frankenstein, which was pretty good. They made
Monster Party.
Oh. They made some of the arcade ports like Galaga and Dig Dug 2 and stuff. Whatever.
But they made lots of trash.
They definitely threw the dice a lot to see what worked.
Yeah. This is the diamond in the rough as far as I'm concerned for Bandai.
Yeah,
so.
It's probably their best game.
Good job, Bandai. You did good, kid. You did good. But yeah, that's it for these games this week. I think next, I want to do Halloween games.
Okay.
Yeah. So, that time of the year where everyone fucking does Halloween games.